Video games get a bad rap, but can they actually cause seizures? Hello everyone, Crystal, your friendly neuroscientist here for D-News to talk video games and epilepsy. Normally, the activity in your brain is a lot of neurons firing at different times. The activity of these neurons are highly regulated, and there are inhibitory systems in place to make sure they don't fire out of control. Right now, many of your brain regions are active processing this stimulating video, but they are all working independently of each other. In some cases, though, a glitch can occur and the activity syncs up. When this happens, it can trigger what we know as a seizure. Seizures are often described as a storm of concerted brain activity, with all circuits firing in rhythm together. There are many different types of seizures, and not all lead to a diagnosis of epilepsy. Epilepsy is a disorder characterized by a specific form of recurring seizure, a reduced seizure threshold, and it usually requires an EEG or neuroimaging for diagnosis. It might come as a surprise, but over the course of a lifetime, 4% of our population will experience epilepsy, and it's the fourth most common neurological disorder, on par with dementia and stroke. What does this have to do with video games? Well, somehow it seems that certain types of repetitive sensory stimuli can trigger a seizure, and pulsing light, like the flashes from a computer or television screen, can fit the bill. About 3% of people with epilepsy, and some individuals without, experience photosensitive seizures in response to flashing light. These types of seizures are more common in children and adolescents, the portion of the population for whom video games are the greatest concern. Many people don't know that they are sensitive to flickering lights until they experience a seizure, and the factors that can trigger a photosensitive seizure are how quickly the light flashes, the intensity of the flashing light, the distance between the viewer and the light source, and the color or wavelength of the light. Any repetitive visual stimuli can trigger the seizure. Video games are seen as the frequent culprits, but the incidence of these seizure events has been on the rise since the advent of television in the 1950s. In the 90s, there was a famous Japanese incident in which over 600 children experienced seizures and were hospitalized after watching a Saturday morning Pokemon cartoon. And in the UK, a noodle commercial that triggered seizures led to increased regulations for broadcast television. Here in the US, seizure warnings are becoming more and more common, but we have yet to enact the regulatory approaches taken by the UK and Japan. It is important to note that isolated seizures caused by distinct visual triggers are not enough for an epilepsy diagnosis, so to say that video games cause epilepsy is a bit misleading. But they can cause seizures, and these episodes can occur when they are least expected and are not without consequence. Repeated seizure activity can lead to cognitive impairment, behavioral abnormalities, and even brain damage. So the next time you sit down at a computer or television screen, just know that you might be putting your brain at risk for much more than just a good time. For other new research on how video games affect the brain, check out this recent video from Trace.
These researchers think that the action video game players are underdeveloping their striatum to such a degree that it might affect them throughout their lives. They may even develop a neurological disorder because of this.
Is there anything else you're curious about that you want us to cover on the show? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to D-News.